overcast and dreary day in Broward County. We are under a tropical storm warning. That happened this morning. Got out of bed at 7 o'clock and they had that posted. What that means is basically for us, it's been crappy all morning. It's been raining. On and off rain. About an hour or
Your
so.
route may be affected by tropical storm warning.
My route might be affected by a tropical storm warning. Let's see. Is it true? So, what that means for us is that they expect that winds could reach our area of over 35 mile an hour. So over the next 36 hours, they are pretty certain that we're going to get winds and gusts. I saw someone estimated we could get gust winds when a band comes through. We get the outer bands. You know, this storm is so big. The storm is so big that the outer bands can be hundreds of miles away from the center, and they can come over us and give us like these little micro bursts, I call it, where like rain, I mean torrential rain and wind happens for like 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes sometimes, and then it's gone. And then you get this type of weather. Things start to dry up, and then as the storm continues to rotate counterclockwise, the bands come through. So that's why they put the warnings up. The problem is if they do get winds that are 25, it should be 35 miles an hour or more, it could affect a lot of things, right? Because I think like UPS and I believe Amazon, because their trucks have a high profile, right? They won't be allowed on the road. The trucks won't be allowed on the road, and it affects a lot of the travel. It affects people's jobs, you know. Like I'm in the healthcare industry, and I go to people's homes, and if the winds top hit a certain speed, then my agency doesn't want me out on the road. They're afraid of liability, right? If I'm out doing a job in a storm and I get injured, then they can be sued. But believe it or not, what happens a lot in these high winds is people get their car damaged. You see these big palm trees I'm going by, you see those. I mean, these palm trees are 30 feet high, and those palm fronds, some of them weigh 20, 30 pounds. And if they hit, and the wind breaks it loose and it falls down, it can shatter your windshield. It could actually kill you. I know people that have those big palms on their property, and one of the palm fronds broke off, hit the corner of the house, and broke off the whole corner of the house, the roof part. So that's what happens. Like in Florida, you can see we have a lot of trees. We have a lot of palm trees, other types of trees, and we have a lot on our property, right? I think the local code is that you got to have at least on your property, whether that's the front yard, a combination of the front and backyard. And a lot of people have these. A lot of people have these palm trees and other types of trees near their driveway, and these branches break off in these winds, and they fall on the cars. Happened to my neighbor. He has this tree, and a branch fell off and it shattered his windshield, the back part of his car, and the car got waterlogged because it was raining. But about an hour ago, we had a real strong band come through. You would never know it now, right? Looks pretty good, but it came through, and it was absolutely, crazy. It was a crazy rain and wind. So I'm going down, I'm on the Sawgrass Expressway, and to my right's the Everglades. Those line of trees you see along the right there, they separate the road from the Everglades, and it's blowing pretty hard. So we got some wind going on. And the reason why we're under a tropical storm warning is that we could have the wind and the rain that's associated with a tropical storm. We could have winds that are over 35 mile an hour sustained, and they're predicting gusts up to 55. So we'll see. Sometime in the past, I've seen them issue these types of warnings, and nothing ever happened. You know, we didn't have the bad weather. What makes Helene dangerous is that it's moving so slow. It's only going 7-8 miles an hour. It'll probably pick up speed as these fronts and these high pressure and low pressure ridges start to form and separate. It'll probably pick up speed, and that's what's dangerous about a hurricane, right? So if they say a hurricane has 100 mile an hour winds, okay, sustained, but it's moving, let's say at 20 miles an hour, then you've got to tack that 20 mile an hour onto the sustained winds of 100. So you could feel winds of up to 120. You know, and in South Florida, what we pay attention to is what side of the storm you're going to be on. Okay, because the storm rotates counterclockwise, right? So if the storm is let's say the storm is coming directly at us. It's coming off the Atlantic and it's coming towards Miami and Fort Lauderdale, right? Well, most of the damage from that storm is going to be around the eye. That's where you're going to get your strongest winds into the north side of the storm. Okay? So if it was Miami, the people from Miami north, like Fort Lauderdale and stuff like that, they're really going to get walloped hard, because that's the strong side. Because the storm is rotating and those bands are rotating onto shore. The weaker side is anyone to the south of Miami. You know, because the storms, you're not getting those bands driving into you. You're getting the bands that are coming that have already moved ashore to the north, and then they weaken as they travel over land, and then they exit to the south of the storm because it's rotating counterclockwise. So in South Florida, where we're under a storm threat, we're looking at as homeowners who've lived here our whole lives, we're looking at where the storm's going to make landfall and what side of the storm. So when you see that storm moving up into the Gulf of Mexico, right? Anyone on the right side of the storm, which is going to be, the whole west coast of Florida, they're going to get those bands that are going to be coming up from the south and driving, they're going to be coming in from the water and going up the coast. And even though it's offshore, let's say it's offshore 200 or 300 miles, those bands extend out, and those heavy bands are going to be making their landfall over Tampa, Destin, Sarasota. I'm not even a weatherman, but I've been looking at it for so long. That's what we pay attention to, right? We pay attention to which side of the storm we're going to be on. And obviously, the center, where the eye is, you're looking to see where that eye is going to come ashore. Because that's going to be like a tornado, right? You see those, you see the aftermath of a tornado. And the tornado is like a mile wide, right? It's a mile wide, and it creates like a trench, like destruction. You can just see that line going across the landscape of where the tornado touches. Drive faster. I'm driving pretty fast. If you see, a hurricane is the same way, except the eye of the storm can be 100 miles wide. So wherever that eye moves ashore, that 100-mile wide eye, whatever it is, wherever that eye touches, whatever it goes over is going to be completely devastating. They don't build anything, I'm telling you right now. If it's 150 mile an hour winds or if it's 120, I was hit with 100 and about 100. The eye came ashore on the west coast of Florida. It was Wilma, cut across the state. The eye went right over my house. And it's crazy, right? Because all hell breaks loose. And you're in a hell of a storm, and then all of a sudden, in a blink of an eye, it turns to this. Sunny weather like this, you get about, depending how fast it's moving, you might get 20 minutes of looking out, seeing all this, and then all of a sudden, as the eye moves over, it starts up again, and the winds come from the opposite direction, and that's why being around the eye is so devastating. If you're anywhere near where they say that the landfall is going to happen, you got to go. If you have homes, your house, homes offer no protection from a direct strike from the eye. It's too much. So we'll see. We'll see. Like I said this morning, it looked like this, and then these strong winds and rain came for about an hour, and then it passed. And that's just the outer bands from the storm. That imagine we're getting the outer bands already in South Florida, and the freaking hurricane is down near the Yucatan Peninsula. So this is how big these storms get. And you get these bands that are packed with wind and rain. And that's why they put South Florida, Miami, Broward, Key West, the Keys, we're all under a warning. And there's a difference, right? There's a difference between a watch, and they say you're under a tropical storm watch. A watch means within the next 3 days. we might start feeling the effects. And then once you go under a warning, it means within 24 hours, we should start feeling the effects of we'll feel the effects of the hurricane, but only to the extent of the power of a tropical storm. 35 mile an hour winds, possibly heavy rain, and I think they're sailing later this afternoon, so we'll see. It's so weird how a lot of this stuff happens at night, but one thing is they're pretty certain where this thing's gonna go, right? Like no one should lose their life. No one should lose their life because you have ample warning. The forecast really hasn't changed much. They're saying that Big Bend area. The Big Bend is the west coast of Florida, where the coast goes north, and then it starts to curve. It curves into the panhandle, and that area is called the Big Bend. And if you like scallops, you're gonna have a problem, because that Big Bend area of Florida is the scallop capital of the world. That whole area, steam hatching in the Big Bend, they're known as the scallop capital. So it's going to be a shame. I think the scallop industry is going to get walloped. The storm surge. Storm surge is no joke. You've seen it. You've seen videos on YouTube. You know, you saw it in Florida where you see the ocean start coming in, and it's just lapping at the seawall, and the next thing you know, 5 hours later, the whole area is under 5 feet of water, and that's what happens. So don't get lulled. You know, don't mess around. If the authorities say you gotta go, you gotta go. And they open up shelters, right? They open up shelters for people to go, and I don't even know if that's some of the shelters they tell you to go to. Go to a school. I don't know. I don't know if a school's gonna provide much shelter. I don't know if a school is a class 5 building, you know. In Florida, our EOCs and other main buildings are what they call category 5 buildings, which can withstand supposedly a category 5 hurricane. I worked roofing and construction 25 years ago, and I remember the engineer that I was working with, and the architect said they don't have anything. There are things that can withstand a category 5, obviously, but most people can't afford it. You just can't afford it. You know, there's some people that have safe rooms. You know, like people have, you know, out in the Midwest, they have tornado shelters, right? They have tornado shelters. In Florida, I don't know if you can really do that. Maybe in the middle of the state, but down here in South Florida, you know, we have a lot of limestone. We have certain areas. If you dig down 5, 6, 7 feet, you'll hit water in certain areas. You know, there's the water tables. We don't have the best drainage in the world either. You got the Everglades out west. You got the ocean. You got the Everglades out west, and then you go 15 miles east and you hit the ocean. And they have all these lakes and canal systems, and they're on locks, and they start anticipating how much rain we might get, and they start trying to drain everything to lower the levels so they can drain excess water into the ponds, lakes, and I don't know. Out where I live, they do that all the time, and the area still floods. You know. So we'll see. But I haven't looked at the weather radar lately. We'll check that out. I think one of the biggest things that we think about here in Florida too is losing electricity, you know. Because if you lose your electricity during a storm like this, it's almost guaranteed you're gonna be without electricity for 2 or 3 days, depending where on the grid you fall. Like because they have priority, right? They have priorities that when you lose your when electricity goes out from a storm, priority goes to hospitals, nursing homes, fire stations, police stations. A lot of these places have generators, but if you happen to be on the grid that's connected to the hospital or connected to a nursing home or any of those places, you're almost you're like guaranteed that when power is being restored, your area is going to be the first. And it's frustrating. I've seen it's frustrating when you live in an area, and on one side of the street they get their power back, and then you live on the other side of the street, which is not on the grid, and you got to go, and you're without power for a couple more days. That's frustrating. But I have a generator. I have a generator at the house. It's not a full home generator. It's a portable generator, but many years ago I had one of these outlets installed on the side of the house. And then what I can do is when I fire up, I have a 6,000 watt generator. I think it's called watts. I can plug it into this outlet on the side of the house, and it sends power through the house. And I can power on. I usually have the refrigerator hooked up to it, and maybe one of the TV sets, and that's about it. That's about it. You can't run the AC, your air conditioner off of it. So you're gonna have, you can put on some fans, stuff like that, but you're not gonna be able to power much more than that. And then you can start gauging. Like I'm about to go to a gas station. I have to get gas, and my car says 33 miles to empty, so I'm pretty low. And that's like a no-no this time of year. You don't want to run your car low, because people start flocking to the gas stations to fill up, anticipating no power. Some gas stations have generators where they can continue to pump gas, and some places don't. And you can see, I can see now pulling in, you got people filling up. Alright, I gotta step out of the car so I can get some gas.
apple pie and sweet caramel apple. And sip a new favorite this fall. Gotta have a Wawa. Flavors that make you go,
All right. Really use it.
Call Mast Electric 772-238-1851 or visit mastelectric8.com. That's M-A-S-T electric8.com.
WFPL West Palm Beach, WRMF HD2 Palm Beach. Listen to your favorite 850 shows on your HD radio. Just for the 97.9 HD2.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Israel's Army Chief says its forces are preparing for a possible ground operation in Lebanon. It follows days of Israeli airstrikes targeting Hezbollah sites. But those strikes have also killed some 600 this week and displaced nearly 500,000 people. Hezbollah also launching rockets toward Israel. ABC's Ian Panel is in Beirut.
Deeply worrying signs that this conflict is now spiraling out out of control. The Iranian-backed militant group Hezbollah launching a surface-to-surface missile towards Tel Aviv this morning. According to Israel, this is the first time they've ever done this.
The U.S. urging both sides to de-escalate. On the campaign trail, former President Trump in Mint Hill, North Carolina, today saying he will create more jobs in the Biden-Harris administration, claiming President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris lied about recent job growth.
Kamala's not attacking me. She's attacking your furniture jobs. She's attacking your community. She's attacking your factories. And she's trying to send all of those jobs to China with everything else. And we're not going to let that happen.
The unemployment rate dipped to 4.2% in August. Harris is in Pittsburgh today. She's also set to outline more of her economic policies. The man accused of plotting an assassination attempt against former President Trump facing additional charges. ABC's Stephen Portnoy has details.
A new federal grand jury indictment now charges Ryan Ruth with attempted assassination of a presidential candidate. It carries a maximum penalty of life in prison. By random